I've been really excited to check these out as a huge fan of the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. This has been one of my most anticipated toy lines. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we are taking a look at the brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 series action figures from NECA Toys. Of course, I need to start by giving a very special thanks to the folks over at NECA Toys. They did provide these figures a little early so that we can open them up, get a close look at them. I'm really excited about that. The 2012 series was a show that I really enjoyed, and it's kind of a show that's really important to this channel. That era was huge for TMNT fans. I covered the entirety of the 2012 toy line from Playmates Toys right here on this channel. It was just a really fun era to experience as a lifelong fan of this brand right here. So I'm really excited about these toys because while the toys that Playmates put out were fun, they always do a good job making fun kids' toys, I always wanted proper collector figures that really captured the art style of the 2012 series, and it really looks like NECA Toys is delivering that with these right here. So let's start with the packaging, and you'll notice that I've got them all bookended right here so that you can see that all of the figures together create a nice mural of the four turtles running across the rooftops going into battle against Shredder. You'll actually notice that there should be another box in the middle here. I assume the foot soldier, when the foot soldier is released, it's going to go right here and we'll have some foot Shredder on the end right there. But the four turtles kind of mash up right there to create this really awesome scene with the four of them charging into battle. Now, one thing that is really cool about this packaging is that all of the artwork on these boxes was done by 2012 series creator Ciro Nieli. So he did all of the artwork on these boxes, and let me show you what each of the packaging looks like here. So all of them are beautifully color-coded. We got the purples for Donatello, this brand new original artwork of Donatello on the front of the box. The back has got a really great scene that looks like it came straight out of the series, and it does have the Velcro flap that opens up to show us the window box containing the action figure and all of his accessories on the inside. We've even got some beautiful artwork over here on the flap right there. Look at the Krang, very cool stuff in here. Next up, we got Michelangelo on his bright orange packaging. Again, beautiful artwork right there. Velcro flap, you can open that up. You can see the window box showcasing our Mikey, our Ice Cream Kitty. Yes, yes, I'm so happy that we have an Ice Cream Kitty figure. Seriously, I am so excited that we're getting an Ice Cream Kitty figure here. I mean, what a missed opportunity by Playmates back in the day. I can't believe they never did Ice Cream Kitty. Again, look at the awesome artwork on the flap there. Agro-Rilla! There's my man Raph with the dark red. Again, awesome artwork of the character. The flap opens up. We got our window box showing the figure, all of his accessories inside. Beautiful artwork over on the flap. Leonardo in the blue box, of course. Great artwork on the front. Window box showing the figure within. Seriously, all the artwork on here is incredible. Really captures the look of the cartoon too, which is so fantastic. And then aside from the four turtles, we also have the evil Shredder. His box is like a black with almost like a red blood splatter in the background, which is very cool. Again, beautiful artwork by Ciro. And then the window, you open that up, look at that. We've got a Krang in there. We've got an unhelmeted, scarred head. What a beautiful looking Shredder. Oh my God, seriously. Like, I'm so excited for the Shredder specifically, because Shredder oftentimes, specifically in like the Playmates Toys toy lines, like he always kind of gets the shaft. Like he never gets like the figure that makes him look like the badass you expect Shredder to look like, right? This looks incredible. I'm so excited for this. We got a foot logo on the flap right there. So there we go. We've got all four turtles. We've got Shredder. We're going to open these up. We're going to take a look at these figures. All right, so now we've got these figures opened up. We're gonna take a look at them one by one, and I'm gonna start with Leonardo. And the reason I'm gonna start with Leonardo is because he's the one I'm having the most problems with. So let's just get it all out of the way right here in the beginning. All right, so if I bring in the tape measure, you guys can see that the figure itself stands about 5.5 inches tall. Technically, these figures are in the 6-inch scale. Shredder is going to be the tallest figure in the line, so you'll see that when we get to him. And all of the turtles in the 2012 series had different heights from one another. They really stood out. So these figures do match that scale, which is something that I really appreciate. So the overall design, I'll throw this right out the gate. I love these. I think they look incredible. These are certainly the best representations of the animation from the 2012 era brought into action figure form, which is something that I've always wanted to see. That series had such a unique style, and I love seeing it translated here in action figure form. So the paint deco all looks really good on this. Everything as far as the aesthetics go, I think is really good, and you'll see that across the board with all of these figures. But I did run into some issues right out of the box with Leonardo. The first problem I had specifically came with his scabbard. Now you can see both of his swords do seem to fit in there just fine on mine, but the biggest issue I have is that right there. The second one, the top one, I guess, looks like it came unglued. Now, it's not broken or snapped. You can see that there's a little peg hole, and it does plug in place, but it's definitely supposed to be glued in place because that's not like a solid, it doesn't snap in place. It doesn't plug in and hold there. It very easily falls off just by barely touching it. So that is unfortunate, though I will say, I can fix it. I'll probably put a little dab of super glue there and hold it into place. But as I always point out, I shouldn't have to do that. So that is a bit of a bummer. At least it's not broken. So I guess it could be a lot worse. But I would definitely be wary of this, especially because it's so easy to probably snap that off yourself just by holding the figure and doing things like trying to change his head or change his hands or anything like that. So real quick, let's go ahead and run down articulation. It's going to be the same across the board with these guys, so just so you know what to expect here. The heads are ball jointed, so you can say they move side to side, they roll all around. It's very fluid movement. Also, the bandanas on the backs of the heads are articulated, which is really nice. So depending on if you want that more windswept look or if you want it draped down over the shell, you've got those options. You got the hinge joints at the shoulders, so the arms can go outwards. You can move forwards and backwards. You are going to bump into the front shell just a little bit there, which might even rub that down a little bit. You got swivels at the bicep. You've got double joints at the elbows, which you can see the little elbow pad is kind of covering. And then the wrists here can swivel. And there are hinge joints in there as well. They've got these very blocky wrists, of course, that kind of matches the overall aesthetic of the animated series, but the hinge joints are there, so you can still get that movement there with the hands. Now, the front shell, you'll notice there's no articulation point here, and a lot of times what we see in Ninja Turtles is that they just don't get a lot of articulation in the bodies because of the turtle shell, but NECA's done this with other turtles as well. They are articulated underneath that shell. So you can see if we look down in here, there's definitely a joint that allows that torso, the upper torso, to kind of roll around, rock side to side. So there is some movement underneath the shell there. You got ball socket joints there at the thighs, so the legs can go outwards. Again, forwards and backwards. It is a bit of a pliable plastic on the front shell, so it will move a little bit there with the legs. You can swivel there as well. You do have double joints at the knees, and then the feet, obviously, aesthetics, again, are very weird on their legs, but the foot joint is pretty nice. You can see it does have that hinge, so the ankle can go forwards and backwards, and it does also rock side to side, so you should still be able to get some really nice stances out of it. I will say, all of the articulation, very sturdy and solid, feels really good. Leonardo here is fluid all the way around. Now, I ran into a few instances with some of these figures where the joints were very stiff, and I kind of had to work them out just a little bit. I think my Donatello had like a right knee that was like really fused together, so I would definitely be careful with some of those. For the most part though, I think the joints are pretty good on these figures. So all of that feels nice, but I do have a few other gripes that I want to point out. So each of these figures comes with interchangeable heads. You'll notice that right now with Leonardo, I've got the head with the whited out eyes. Every figure here comes with one head that's got the whited out eyes, which are like the battle eyes, and then one head that's much more animated where it has the pupils in the eyes. Except for Leonardo. With Leonardo, the more animated looking head that they chose has closed eyes and the closed mouth because it's like a meditation head. While this looks really cool, I do have to question why this one was chosen instead of one with open eyes where we can see the pupils. Because now if I want to pose all 4 figures with their animated heads, Leo's eyes have to be closed, and I'm really not a fan of that. It's a great looking head sculpt, but if we were gonna get this, I feel like we should have gotten an extra one in there as well with some standard eyes with pupils. Here's my other gripe here. Leonardo's the only figure I have this problem with, but this is one of those instances where when you go to swap the head off, the entire neck peg comes out with the head. And man, that drives me crazy when that happens. If you're not aware, that's not supposed to happen. The head's supposed to snap off the top of the ball joint. The neck peg is supposed to stay in the neck. There probably is a way that I could fix that really good. It's a real pain in the butt. I can't get that out of there without doing some work on it myself, which means when I put on this head, it just kind of has to rest on the neck. I can't really even snap it into place. Or what I did for like some of the photos in this, just to make it a little easier, I just used a little bit of sticky tack so that I could show what the head looks like on there. So that is unfortunate. I really hate that. I really hate that that neck peg is totally stuck in there. I'm sure some of you guys know how to fix this problem. I'm sure some of you are leaving comments letting me know how to fix the problem. But again, I shouldn't have to, right? So I do want to point out, again, Leonardo seems to be the only figure that I'm having this particular problem with. I didn't have any issues changing the head on any other figures. Man, you can see it's really hard to even get this thing back in the joint there. There we go. But the other place too, like all of these figures come with a whole bunch of interchangeable hands. So let me just bring these in here real quick for Leonardo. Most of the figures have like a pair of closed fists that you can swap on. You got open palm hands. You've got, you know, fun little, like this is like a hang 10 kind of design, right? With Leonardo specifically, you've got like this palm hand so that you could do like the meditation type poses, which is really fun. So swapping out the hands works like so. You're just gonna pop them out of the socket and you can see that there is a tiny peg there. Now, I haven't had any problems with any breakage with these, but I will say that every single time I do it, I am worried that I'm going to break these. It's just one of the things where like they plug in so tight and the pegs are thin, and every time I like pull on the hands to like try to pop them out, like it feels like those pegs are stretching a little bit. Now again, I haven't had any breakage, so maybe it's not a problem, but it feels like it sometimes. So I guess like overall, I just want to say like quality wise, it feels mostly fine, but we've got some definite QC issues, like certainly not perfect by any means. Overall aesthetically, I do think they look great. Let me just show you guys the accessories here real quick, of course. So Leonardo does come with those 2 katanas that I showed you that plug onto his back, where I've got one scabbard that's not quite sticking there. The gripping hands are really nice on these. Like they really do get a very tight grip on the accessories. It's also easy to plug the swords in, and the posing is really nice on these. Like they look great when you pose them around. In addition, every one of the turtles comes with these same 3 accessories: a slice of pizza, the shell phone, and a little smoke bomb. So these are all cool little extra accessories. You can kind of get them held in the hands. The smoke bomb's a little hard to get them to hold on to. The shell phone and the pizza work pretty good with those gripping hands there. And then again, like I said, swappable hands so you can do different styles. And then everyone also comes with their own kind of unique accessory, with Leonardo here coming with this flamethrower accessory. Now I know that all of this stuff is based on specific episodes, and as much as I love the 2012 series, I can't place this flamethrower, so feel free to let me know. I'm sure you guys are going to let me know what episode it comes from, and that's great. You guys are the best. All right, let's talk about Michelangelo now. I love this one. I just love the face on this one. But again, bringing in the tape measure here, you can see that Mikey is the shortest of the bunch. He's at like 5 inches tall, so I mean, like, look at him with Leonardo. You can really see that height difference there, which is very cool and very accurate to the show. So you'll see that right now I've got Mikey holding on to his nunchucks. These are very nice. They do have metal chains, and the chains are black, but it's metal. Very cool. You can see I kind of got him posed with the chucks like under his arms. They don't stay there super great. The nunchucks are squared off. You know, they're very blocky, which is the way that they're supposed to look, again, based on the aesthetic of the show. So the nunchucks also have the ability to detach, like you just saw there. It just kind of fell right off. So that is by design, and that's because you also get the cool little sickle attachment, which I know has a proper name, and I'm just misremembering it right now. But what you can do there is you can unplug that nunchuck, and then you can plug it into this instead. And so you've got that as an option to display as well, which is really cool because this is a weapon we saw him utilize in the 2012 series. Now, my only complaint with this is that this peg doesn't hold as tight as I'd like it to. You probably noticed that while we were just kind of posing him around, that nunchuck handle just fell right out of the socket on that. And it's not terrible, like it doesn't happen a lot, but while you're playing with it, you are going to find that it unplugs from that from time to time. So I understand why they did that, but I almost wish instead of doing the interchangeable thing, we would have just got a solid handle on this and then just left the nunchucks like that. I think that would have been better, and we wouldn't have had to worry about like the peg just kind of unplugging there like that. So of course, Mikey also comes with a slew of interchangeable hands, which includes those awesome like hang 10 kind of hands that I like quite a bit, especially for Michelangelo. He's also got pointing fingers, which is really cool. Again, swappable hands just like on the other figure. And we do have an interchangeable head. So we've got that more battle ready head, the whited out eyes, the open mouth. Both of the heads look fantastic on Mikey, both show accurate. And this allows you to display him either with like the happy-go-lucky face if you want the more goofy party dude Michelangelo, or if you need him to be a little bit more serious while battling the foot. And of course, the absolute best thing that Michelangelo includes, Ice Cream Kitty. Oh my God. Look, if you have been a fan of this series since it debuted, and you're like me, you've been wanting a toy of Ice Cream Kitty ever since that series was on TV. And finally, we've got an Ice Cream Kitty. I cannot believe we never got Ice Cream Kitty proper in the original Playmates Toys toy line. But here he is, or here she is, sorry. Here's Ice Cream Kitty with your Michelangelo. Now, she is not articulated at all. I mean, like the tail's pliable, but there's really no articulation here. She's just a static figure, but she looks fantastic. I am so happy to see this figure here. Really, really completes the look. Now, she's totally flat on the bottom, so obviously like she looks the best when like posed on the ground next to the figure. She's not like goopy hanging out of Mikey's arms or anything like that, but man, I'm just so happy that Ice Cream Kitty is here. It's so awesome that we got this as an included figure finally after all these years. Okay, I love Donatello. I just love the way this figure looks. Height-wise, look at this one. He is the tallest of the turtles, coming in at 6 inches tall. So, like, you know, if we bring Leo back over here and Mikey back over here, you could really see the scale difference between these guys. Here, let me get them all on camera. Yeah, look at that. So really cool. I love that. I love that we're getting the proper scales between the turtles here. So Donatello's cartoon accurate face is hilarious. He's got a big goofy smile, like his eyes are almost different sizes, but I don't know, I love it. I think it's so charming. Of course, he's also got like the gap in his teeth that you can see there. Just really fun stuff. And he is taller, more slender. So again, difference with the body styles there, which is really cool. So he, of course, does have his bow staff. One thing I want to show you guys with that is the holster for his bow staff, which is another area that I have a little bit of an issue with. So this is made of a very pliable, like squishy, rubbery plastic. I assume that was done so that it's easier to slide the bow staff through it, but the problem is the entire thing is molded out of that, including the peg. So the peg is like soft and squishy and rubbery, which, you probably know where this is going, makes it incredibly hard to actually plug into the figure's back. I mean, look at how squishy and soft this is, and getting it to plug into the back is like near impossible, man. I cannot get this thing to properly stay in. It's also like the belt doesn't quite line up with like the hole in the back of the shell. Like, it is possible to get this thing attached, but it just falls out so easy. It's so frustrating. So it's just another one of those places where I'm like, God, we're like so close. It's like so close to perfect with these guys. So the bow staff itself fits in Donnie's hands really nicely. He gets a really good grip on it with the gripping hands there. And the way this works, similar to those nunchucks, you can see you can actually pop this apart. So there's a piece right here that's really easy to remove. It just unplugs from here. I will say that it holds in place a lot better than Mikey's nunchucks, so it never feels like it's super loose. Now, of course, the reason for this is very similar to with Mikey's. It's so that you can swap on an extra piece, which in this case is the bladed part of his bow staff. Again, something that comes straight out of the animated series. So if you need Donatello that has a giant blade on the end of his big wooden stick, you can do that. You can display them that way. So again, it's straight out of the cartoon, and I love that they're including things out of the cartoon, which is why I love things like this. Donatello has his own little pack-in sidekick in the form of Dr. Cluckingsworth, this mutated chicken with the large brain. Again, straight out of the animated series. Super fun inclusion here. Much like with Ice Cream Kitty, he's just a solid sculpted piece. There's no articulation, but he is really nicely painted. He's a good solid figure. I love that he's included. Donnie also has some other really fun accessories, including these little goggles, which are great. They have a bit of a Ghostbusters feel to them, but these fit over this particular head the best. They don't fit over the other one too well, but the animated style head, they do come down over the eyes. It's a bit of a tight fit, but you can see they stay in place really well there. And then he also has one of his other little scientific contraptions that is clearly built out of a Game Boy. It's got some egg beaters on the top, which is hilarious. Again, another thing, if you watch the series, you recognize this. I love seeing stuff like this included. And of course, Donatello also has the more serious head, so if you don't want the goofy smiling head, you can do a bit more battle ready with the whited out eyes, the straight mouth. Looks really great on this figure. So Donatello, really fun one with some really great accessories. I like him quite a bit. And that brings us over to the best turtle. Yeah, I said it. Raphael, and right off the bat, I gotta point out how happy I am that I can pose Raphael proper with his size going through the fingers, that center blade going right between the fingers, and he holds onto them perfectly, which is awesome. So I was very, very excited about that. He's a great looking figure. Even his cartoon accurate head sculpt still has that very serious look on his face, almost as if he's annoyed, which is great. But I love his battle ready head sculpt because it's got the full-on screaming mouth as if he's yelling and charging into battle. Honestly, I love the look of this. I mean, I may be biased because Raph is my favorite turtle. He also, I really liked him in this particular series, but this is just a great looking figure all around. He's got the signature crack in his shell up here, which is really cool. He's a bit more rough and tumble looking. I guess height-wise, you can see he's 5.5 inches, so he's about the same as your Leonardo figure there. And aside from the usual interchangeable hands, just like all the other figures, the slice of pizza, the shell foam, we also get some other really fun pack-ins here, such as his little pet Chompy Picasso. Now, as you might know, or maybe not, Chompy Picasso is his second pet turtle, which he got later in the series. It's actually Toka's baby, Space Turtle Toka. 2012's got some seriously crazy lore. So Chompy Picasso is super cute. You can see he's got the spiky shell, he's got the tongue hanging out of his mouth. Amazing. So Spike was his first pet turtle, but as we probably know, I don't care, spoiler alert, right? We should all know at this point, Spike mutates into Slash. I imagine that Slash is probably slated for a figure in this line, and he'll probably come with his unmutated self and Spike, so that we can have that as an option for display too. At least fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Slash would be so awesome in this line. But not only do we get Chompy Picasso, but we get this little critter. This is the little cockroach with Donatello's gear attached to it, which of course in the show eventually mutated into the Cockroach Terminator. Now it's so funny that this comes with Raphael, because Raphael was terrified of cockroaches. That was like the whole theme of that episode. So it's funny that this comes with Raph. Of course, you can just have him with your Donatello if you want. You can have Raph freaking out about it with that screaming head. I don't know, super fun. I really like how Raph turned out. I really have no issues with this particular figure, and he's got some great accessories. And lastly, that brings me to the Shredder. I love this. I mean, like, just the pose. I was just geeking out by the way I was able to pose him around and everything. But let me go ahead and stand him up straight real quick, just so that we can bring in the tape measure here and get a proper scale on this guy. There, I gotta adjust my camera because he's so tall. So if I bring in the tape measure here, you can see that he's at like, what, 7.5 inches tall? A little just under that. I guess the points of his helmet can get up to 7.5 inches tall. So he is quite a bit taller than the turtles, which is exactly how it should be, exactly how he was portrayed in the series. This is great. It's, again, another example of them translating the way this character looked in animation and bringing it to life as an action figure. I don't really have any QC issues of note with my Shredder. All of his joints seem to work really well. His knees are really kind of tough on that second joint there, but otherwise, like, it's pretty fluid. You can see the ankles have good hinges. You've got the swivels there as well. You can also swivel at this big giant squared boots with his spikes on there. So the articulation is really nice on this guy. I like that the silver has got a nice shine to it. I also like that there's some customization with his blades over here. So right now I've got him like with the longer blades poking out, because in the series, like, it was almost like Wolverine, right? He can schnicked out those blades on his gauntlets, but those are removable. Look at that. They're just on like little pegs, basically. They just plug into these little holes on the inside, and there are actually 3 holes because he also comes with 2 of these like center blades here. So you can take those out, you can plug this in instead if you want, or heck, I believe we can fit it so all of them go on there. They might be a little cluttered if we do it all together. Yeah, a little cluttered. It doesn't look super great with all of them on there, but it's possible. You can do it. But I love that. So, and then you can just remove them all as well. So you can kind of have them like, you know, powered down, which he still has a ton of spikes right there. He doesn't have any of them extended for battle. And then the other thing that I really like about this is he's got a removable helmet. Look at this. So the helmet can pop off the figure, which reveals his extremely gruesome scarred face, which is just horrifying looking. Look at that, the ear all chewed up, everything looks gross on this guy, but again, looks like he does in the animated series. Now, he also has an interchangeable ugly face, so if you want him with like the gritting teeth and the more angry eyes, you can swap that on there. And the helmet will fit on both heads. Not that there's like too much of a difference really, since it covers like his whole face, but it's something that you can do if you want. And I will say, like, the helmet actually fits on the face really well. It's not too loose and wobbly. You can see a little bit, but it actually holds on there pretty nicely. So I like it, and it looks good. It like doesn't look overly big or anything like that. It seems to fit him just fine. He does also include this little cape, which is pretty neat. So if you want to add the cape to him, you can. It's really interesting the way they did it. They added these little wires, like kind of like hooks here. So this will come around it. I'm going to take the helmet off just for a second so we can attach this. So around his neck, and then the hooks will kind of clip over the shoulder spikes like so. And then the hooks kind of get hidden under those shoulder spikes. So now you can see we've got a cape on the figure, which actually looks really nice on here. I like it. So we got a soft goods cape, so you can display them with that if that is something you want to do. We do have a series of interchangeable hands as well, so you can swap to like the open hands if you want to, or the gripping hands. And he comes with a Krang. Of course, these guys were the other big bad in the series. So we've got one of the Krang here. He is a really nice sculpt. The only thing I will say about it is, much like the other smaller figures, he's unarticulated. And the way they sculpted his tendrils are really interesting, because on the right, the tendrils are coming straight down, and on the left, they're sticking out to the side, which actually makes him a bit hard to pose. Like, you almost need to find a way to, like, pose him on Shredder, but I don't know, there's, like, not really a great place to do that either. So it's hard to find out how to stand him. I almost wish he would have come with, like, one of the little things for him to sit on, or I don't know, something. It's like, it's a little hard to get him to stand up. He looks great, but I'm honestly not sure what I'm supposed to do with him. I guess he just kind of flops around on the ground right there. All right, guys, it's comparison time. So for this moment, I thought it would be really fun to bring in the original Playmates Toys Turtles from the 2012 series, as well as the Revoltech Turtles that were released in 2014. The Revoltech figures, of course, were the only other time we got collector quality versions of these figures, and at the time, I absolutely loved them because they looked like the animation. Now, honestly, I still really like them, but it's very interesting looking at them alongside the new NECA figures, because you can see just how blocky and clunky they look. I know they were often criticized for being very clunky, especially in the joints, and that really comes across looking at them here with the NECA figures. I think all of these figures are great in their own right, but I think looking at them all side by side, to me, these new ones from NECA Toys are certainly the most accurate figures based on the animation from the 2012 series. And there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new 2012 era Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Shredder from NECA Toys. Are these perfect? No, they're not. They definitely have their problems. There's some QC issues. Some of them really kind of bum me out. But all in all, I still like these. I think they look great. They nailed the look of these characters. The sculpts are nice. For the most part, the figures feel really good. If we could like really just tweak in, like get some of those little QC things corrected, make these not feel as fragile, these could be perfect. But if you're just looking for great representations of these characters on your shelf, I think you're gonna be pretty happy with these. And I would love to see this line continue. I love this series, and getting a proper toy line that looks like the animation is something that I've long wanted to see. So I want to see more of these, but I also want to see them just cleaned up a little bit. Just a little bit. Once again, I got to give a very special thanks to NECA because they did send these to me for the purposes of this review, but these are hitting stores right now. I know they were on the NECA shop. They sold really quickly on there, but they're hitting Walmart now. I think these are going to be everywhere. So these are also supposed to be at Target. Hopefully that means they'll also be on Big Bad Toy Store and other places as well. So just keep hunting. Hopefully everybody will be able to get a hold of these, and hopefully we'll be able to see more from this line. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Have you picked these up? Have you experienced some of the same issues as me? Are you looking forward to more of these? I'd love to hear from you guys, so let me know down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my friends.